Hi everybody, hope you're all doing well. Do you know what P&L stands for? What about AGM or CRO? Well, these are just a few of the many abbreviations used in business. In this lesson, we're going to look at 21 common business abbreviations. I'll tell you what each one stands for and I'll explain the meaning. Welcome back to English for Professionals. I'm Derek and I'm here with another short lesson for you busy people. Before we get started, just a quick reminder to subscribe to my channel. Hit the red button and don't forget to click on the little bell. That way you'll be notified every time I upload a new lesson. And join my email list. Every 2 weeks I send out my free vocabulary email with additional business English, words from the news and everyday English for you to learn. The link is in the description below. And now let's get started with the lesson. First we'll take a look at some general business abbreviations and then we'll have a look at the management and executive positions such as CEO, CRO and CBDO. And our first abbreviation is P&L, also called P/L. Do you know what it stands for? That's right, profit and loss statement. This is one of the main financial statements for a business. It calculates the profit or loss for a time period, usually a month or a year, and it shows whether the business is making or losing money. Our next abbreviation is ROI. ROI. Do you know what it stands for? It's return on investment. Return on investment. When you decide to invest in a business, whether it's time or money, you usually have a goal to get something back. That investment should help the business to grow and make more profit. Calculating the return on investment is a way of checking if an investment decision was worth it, if it made sense. A high ROI means it was probably a good decision. A low ROI, maybe not so good. Up next we have USP. USP. Do you know what this one stands for? It's unique selling point or also unique selling proposition. Unique selling point or unique selling proposition. A USP is something that makes a company, product or service unique. It makes it stand out from the other companies' products or services on the market. What's your company's USP? And our next abbreviation is AGM. AGM, which stands for Annual General Meeting. Annual General Meeting. So the word annual describes something that happens once a year. At an AGM, the company's directors present an annual report with information for the shareholders about the company's performance and strategy. Next up we have AOB. AOB, which stands for Any Other Business. Any Other Business. You often see this abbreviation on meeting agendas. It's usually the last item on the agenda, and this part of the meeting gives the participants the opportunity to talk about other important topics that were not part of the original agenda. And the next abbreviation is PM. PM, which stands for Project Manager. Project Manager. A project manager is a person who's responsible for all aspects of a project. PM can also stand for Project Management. Up next we have CSR. CSR. Do you know this one? It stands for Corporate Social Responsibility. Corporate social responsibility. If a company is socially responsible, it manages its business processes to have a positive impact on society and the environment. Is your company socially responsible? Next we have QA and QC. QA and QC. Do you know these ones? Well, QA stands for Quality Assurance, and QC stands for Quality Control. quality control. Quality assurance is about checking the quality of the processes used to develop and produce products. The focus is on the processes. Quality control is about checking the quality of the finished products. Quality assurance is proactive. Quality control is reactive. And our next abbreviation is HR. HR. I'm sure a lot of you know this one. Human resources. Human resources. The HR department is responsible for the company's employees. HR professionals make sure that the employees have everything they need to do their day-to-day tasks. We can also use HR, human resources, to refer to the whole workforce of a company or organization. And the next abbreviation is R&D. R&D. Now I'm sure a lot of you know this one. It's research and development. Research and development. Be careful with the second word, the pronunciation. A lot of people say development. The correct pronunciation is development. Development. Research and development. If you have trouble with this word, check out my other video. You should see the link somewhere here where you can practice the pronunciation of this word. So the R&D department works on developing new products or new ways of doing things. It also tries to improve existing products and processes. Great, so we've looked at some general business abbreviations. Now let's take a look at some common abbreviations used for senior management and executive positions. And we'll start with MD and CEO. MD and CEO. So MD stands for Managing Director, and CEO is Chief Executive Officer. Chief Executive Officer. Be careful with that second word, executive. Don't say executive or executive, it's executive. Executive. If you're not sure about this one, check out my other pronunciation video. You'll see the link somewhere here to help you pronounce that word properly. Chief Executive Officer. So, MD or CEO, what's the difference? Well, both positions are senior executive positions. Some people will say that an MD and a CEO are the same thing, but others will say that the MD is responsible for day-to-day operations and the CEO is responsible for the vision of the company, so strategies for the future. It really depends on the type, size and structure of the company. And our next abbreviation is COO. COO, which stands for, do you know it? Chief Operations Officer. Chief Operations Officer. The COO is responsible for day-to-day operations, similar to MD, but again, it depends on the organization. Next up, we have CFO. CFO, which stands for Chief Financial Officer. Chief Financial Officer. And the CFO is responsible for managing the company's finances. Next, we have CIO and CTO. CIO and CTO. So CIO stands for Chief Information Officer. Chief Information Officer, and CTO stands for Chief Technology Officer. Chief Technology Officer. Now, information and technology usually go hand in hand. So what's the difference between these two positions? Well, the CIO usually focuses on improving processes within the company, while the CTO focuses on using technology to improve and innovate products which serve the customer outside the company. Our next abbreviation is CRO. CRO. Do you know this one? It stands for Chief Risk Officer. Chief Risk Officer. This senior executive is responsible for analysing and dealing with any kind of risk that can affect the organisation. And our next abbreviation is CMO. CMO, which stands for Chief Marketing Officer. Chief Marketing Officer. CMOs are usually responsible for the company's marketing strategy, product development, pricing, and sales management. Up next we have CCO. CCO, which stands for Chief Communications Officer. Chief Communications Officer. This executive is responsible for communications and public relations. In some organizations, this position is called PRO, Public Relations Officer. And our last abbreviation is our longest one, CBDO. CBDO. Do you have any idea what this stands for? Chief Business Development Officer. Chief Business Development Officer. This executive focuses on the development and growth of the business by building relationships in the industry, finding opportunities, and making business deals. So there we have it, 21 common business abbreviations. If you know any other abbreviations, feel free to leave a comment. And if there are any other areas of business English I can help you with, let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to make a lesson on that topic in the near future. All the abbreviations and explanations from this lesson can be found in the description below. If you liked the lesson, hit the like button and share with your friends and colleagues. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that already and join my email list. Every 2 weeks I send out my free vocabulary email with additional business English, words from the news and everyday English for you to learn. The link is in the description below. Thanks a lot for watching and see you soon.